Hi everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I was on vacation for 13 days in Grenada. It was originally supposed to be 5 days. It was extended to 13 days, so that's why I was gone for a while. But now I'm back and today's video is going to be on, are men really the cause for your chronic vaginal infections? And I've wanted to make a video on this for a while because I've had a handful of women comment on my post saying that men are the ones to blame. I had someone comment on my TikTok once that the reason why women are getting vaginal infections is because men are fucking other men and then putting their in women's, and that is literally such a random, like, it's not random, but that's such a specific thing to say. And it goes to show that a lot of women need to heal their relationship with men and not just blame everything on men. I've also had someone on Threads respond to one of my educational posts on iron deficiency anemia saying that y'all would do anything to gaslight women when in reality all they have to do is get rid of that dirty schlong. And literally, like, yes, of course men can cause chronic vaginal infections, but you don't have to blame men for everything, and men are not the only reason why you have chronic vaginal infections. That's one reason out of literally so many different reasons that why you can get vaginal infection. So if you find yourself blaming men for a lot of things, including your recurring vaginal infections, you need to heal your relationship with men. You need to heal your trauma, and you need to heal your perception of men. Because if you have this perception of men, you're going to keep manifesting men causing you issues in your reality, because your subconscious mind's job is to prove all of your thoughts and beliefs to be true. This is backed by science. It's called the reticular activating system, and its job is to perform confirmation bias. So whatever beliefs you have about men, if you have these beliefs, your reality is always going to keep confirming them to you. That's why it's a typical thing where you hear niggas ain't shit, or all men cheat, or love isn't real, because if these are your beliefs, your subconscious mind is going to prove you right. So you're always going to see evidence of it in your reality, and once it's proven back to you, you're going to be like, see, I knew it, I told you. But in reality, you're literally just doing it to yourself. So it's really, 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 really important that if you're one of these women who have these perceptions, that you really heal yourself. You can go to therapy. You can see a feminine energy healing coach. You can see a Reiki healer, or anyone who can heal you in a positive way, of course. So I want to give some reasons, one, as to how men can be the reason for your recurring vaginal infections, and how men also don't have to be the reason for your recurring vaginal infections. So some ways in which men can cause recurring vaginal infections is, number one, semen is alkaline. So semen has a pH of 7.2 to 8, and your vagina prefers a pH of 3.5 to 4.5. So obviously, if a man is injecting in you, that's going to raise your pH, and that can cause vaginal infections for some, because some women bounce back easily while others don't. So the women who bounce back easily is because they have a strong vaginal terrain. The ones who don't do not have a strong vaginal terrain, meaning that they don't have a strong vaginal ecosystem that can protect from their pH being out of whack. So if your lactobacilli are low, semen can trigger BV-like symptoms. So if you deal with recurring vaginal infections after pre-cum or actual cum, then you would want to make sure that your lactobacilli levels are up to par by consuming a lot of probiotic-rich foods, a probiotic supplement, as well as prebiotic-rich foods and supplementation to feed the probiotics. Number two, hidden bacteria from your male partner. So men do not always get symptoms. And in fact, they actually rarely get symptoms, but they can carry things like Gardnerella, which is a BV-causing bacteria, ureaplasma, mycoplasma, candida, E. coli, and they will have no symptoms. So you'll have sex with them raw, and then you'll get the infection, and then you're wondering, like, what's happening? The guy doesn't know what's going on, but then you're blaming it on the man when he literally did not know, because they don't get symptoms. So even if the tests say he's clean, he can still pass these things back and forth. And he wouldn't even know that he has it. So 3, you can also have a microbiome mismatch. So your microbiome and his microbiome simply may not be compatible. When you sleep with someone new, your vagina literally needs to adjust to their bacteria. For some women, the adjustment can cause inflammation or imbalance. So you can help to support this adjustment through strengthening your vaginal immune system and your regular immune system, through all the ways in which you would naturally heal recurring vaginal infections. I have a video on this, multiple videos on this on my channel at this point in my Vag Healing Education series. So you can watch that, obviously. 4, condomless sex with a partner whose hygiene is off. So uncircumcised men obviously will hold more bacteria under their foreskin, and poor hygiene. So if a man has any bad smell in that area, number 1, you should not be having sex with him. Number 2, if you do, you need to be using a condom, because bad hygiene, you're literally, if a guy has bad hygiene and you're having sex with him vaginally or orally, you're obviously going to be spreading that, he's going to be spreading that bacteria to you. So the men that you were interacting with sexually need to be healthily groomed down there, and also have no signs of anything, like no BO odor, no odor in general, no long pubic hair, no thick ass bushy pubic hair, none of that shit. They need to be well groomed, clean, no odor at all. And if you are someone who is scared to speak up for yourself and ask the man to shave or whatever, then you need to work on your self-esteem and self-concept, because there's no reason as to why you should be okay with having a man put his penis inside of you if it smells and if he has a really thick, ungroomed pubic bush. Like, you have to really work on speaking up for yourself and having that self-esteem to deny sexual interactions with a man that has that going on. And I've done this in the past where a guy had a really untrimmed pubic bush and also had a smell. I told him, I'm not doing anything with you, because I'm not doing that, because I respect my body, I respect my vagina, and you have to also respect yourself. I respect your vagina in order for men to also respect you. But on top of that, in general, your vagina is a magical portal, and you have to treat it with respect. So by you letting a man sleep with you who obviously does not take care of himself, you do not respect yourself enough. So you have to work on your self-respect, your self-esteem, your self-concept, and find someone else who has more of a better hygiene. Like, why stay with someone who has poor hygiene when you can find someone with better hygiene? There's always better dick, no matter what. Remember that. Okay, and 5, obviously, if they're cheating or if they have other partners. So I don't like to instill fear into women, because this is going to feed into the belief that all men ain't shit and this, that, and the third. But there are situations, of course, where men do cheat, or men that have other multiple partners and they're sleeping with these other partners raw with no condoms. And what they're doing is they're injecting themselves, like obviously their penis, into someone else. They're getting that person's bacteria, good and bad bacteria, doesn't matter, and they're passing it back onto you. And now you are dealing with different people's energies and different people's bacteria. So we all know sex is a soul tie, it's an energetic tie. So not only is it energetic, but it's also a bacterial exchange. So if they're sleeping with multiple different women, they're getting multiple different women's bacterias, multiple different women's traumas and energies, and then they're putting it back into you. And it's going to obviously cause you to have the recurring vaginal infections. So when new bacteria enters your vaginal ecosystem, suddenly your vagina can react, and many women notice BV right after their partner cheats. So that's how men can be the reason physically. Men can also be the reason spiritually and energetically. So number 6, spiritual misalignment. So your body rejecting the connection. So your womb and your sacral chakra, which is the chakra that's responsible for sexual energy, pleasure, creativity, can register energy before your mind does. So if you are with a man and you're having chronic irritation, infections, or discomfort around a partner, it could also potentially mean that he may not be aligned with you, your nervous system doesn't feel safe with him, or there's an emotional disconnection which leads to a vaginal disconnection. So this is just one of the reasons, because there's many women who have dealt with infections with one man, not with the other, and then they realize that the man that's giving the infections they're not aligned with, and they end up breaking up, and the next man doesn't cause those infections. So that can be the reason sometimes, but it's not always the man's fault. 7, your body creates symptoms when it wants you to detach. So your body is really, really smart. It's always going to work in your favor. So women often heal after leaving a relationship because in the relationship, if it was not meant for you, it can cause those reoccurring vaginal infections. And so your body creates the symptoms for you to detach so that you can move on easily. And survival energy plus lack of safety will always lead to inflammation and poor immunity. So if you are staying with a man due to being in survival mode, for survival purposes, feeling like you can't leave because you're not safe or you feel unsafe leaving him, whatever it is, this is always going to lead to inflammation and poor immunity because you're spiking your cortisol levels. So that's really important. Let's see. Now we're going to talk about how men or why men are not always the reason. So us women, we have a vaginal microbiome. And if your vaginal microbiome is imbalanced, that means that it doesn't have to be the man. It can literally be a problem within you. So most recurring infections come from your body, not the partner. Because with partners, women can sleep with the same partner and one can get an infection and one can, won't get an infection, because one that doesn't get an infection has a stronger vaginal microbiome, which means that if you're getting the infection, it can mean that you just don't have a strong vaginal immunity. So some reasons as to why you could have an imbalanced vaginal microbiome would be having low iron. So if that's the case, watch my iron deficiency anemia education series on my YouTube channel. Low zinc, low vitamin A, low stomach acid, weak immune function, gut imbalance, chronic stress, post-antibiotic microbiome damage, because antibiotics damages your microbiome, blood sugar instability, a histamine intolerance, as well as hormones such as low estrogen can cause recurring vaginal infections. So if your terrain is weak, any partner can trigger symptoms, not just one man. Number 9, your vaginal microbiome cannot bounce back. So a healthy vagina can reset after sexual activity, whether it's oral or vaginally. But if yours can't, that's a sign that your microbiome needs to be rebuilt. 10, it's a gut to vaginal issue, not a male to vagina issue. So there is a gut vagina axis. I have a video on that in my vaginal education series on the connection between your gut health and your vaginal health. So most vaginal infections actually start in the gut because bacteria translocate from the gut to your vagina through this axis. So if your gut health is trash, most likely your vaginal health will also be trash. Gut dysbiosis means disbalance of bacteria. So gut dysbiosis, which is gut imbalance, leads to vaginal dysbiosis, which is vaginal imbalance. Issues like constipation or SIBO can also cause recurring BV and yeast infections because constipation, you're holding onto waste in your stomach, and that waste is releasing toxins that are circulating back into your body. And because your gut and your vagina are connected, obviously this is going to disrupt your vaginal terrain. SIBO is small intestine bacterial overgrowth. So obviously any bacterial overgrowth in your gut will also cause a bacterial overgrowth in your vagina. 11, birth control and antibiotics can also ruin your vaginal flora. So your vagina can react to almost anything. Birth control is a synthetic hormone. I highly never recommend birth control because I just think it's honestly poisonous. It's a man-made synthetic chemical that you're putting into your body that's replacing your natural hormones, and it's a band-aid solution covering up the root of why you're dealing with whatever you're dealing with. I know some women are obviously using it for things like endometriosis or other painful conditions, but all those conditions have a root cause, and using birth control is just an easy way out without addressing the root cause of what's causing those inflammatory conditions. But birth control can definitely cause your recurring vaginal infections, and antibiotics, because antibiotics, antibacteria, wipes away your good bacteria and also your bad bacteria. We need the good bacteria to flourish. Without the good bacteria, the bad bacteria will overgrow, and then that's what causes the recurring BV, yeast infections, and all the other vaginal infections. 12, trauma, stress, and nervous system dysregulation. So your nervous system controls your immunity and your vaginal pH. Your cortisol levels, which is your stress hormones, if that's spiked, your blood sugar is also going to be spiked. If these two are chronically spiked over time, This can lead to insulin resistance, diabetes, high cholesterol levels, high triglycerides, fatty liver, weight gain specifically in your stomach area, and high blood sugar will obviously lead to an environment that will invite yeast to overgrow because yeast loves sugar. So your stress levels and your blood sugar levels go hand in hand. If you're in a toxic relationship or if you have a lot of trauma, that can also cause recurring vaginal infections, and your nervous system being dysregulated in general because it's always spiking your cortisol levels. So if you are a person who is always anxious, worrisome, fearful, stressed, you're always on go, like you're never relaxing, you never have any free time, you're always working, you're always hustling, you're burning yourself out. All of this is dysregulating your nervous system, and that can cause recurring vaginal infections. And lastly, you can change partners and still get the same infections because the root is internal, not relational, unless you know you are in a relationship that you're not supposed to be in, and that's what's causing your recurring vaginal infections. So yes, men can contribute to infections. They can throw off your pH. They can disrupt your microbiome. But the real reason why infections become chronic is because your body cannot recover after exposure. So when you heal your vagina, you heal your internal ecosystem and you stop blaming men. You also, like I said, you need to heal your relationship with men if you feel like men are the reason for all your problems, including your vaginal problems. So that's pretty much the reasons as to how men can, and also why they don't always cause your recurring vaginal infections. So if you like the tips that I provide, I highly encourage you to join my email list because I give free tips every 3 days. If you click the link down below to get my free 8-hour vaginal sleeping tape, that gives you access to my email list. I also do have my 30-day Vag Reset ebook that teaches you how to heal recurring vaginal infections in 30 days because I healed mine in 7 days after dealing with an infection for 2 years caused by Gardnerella, which is a BV-causing bacteria. So you can use either my 30-day Vag Reset ebook to give you a 30-day protocol along with other education as to why you may be having the recurring vaginal infections, or you can also just join my email list and you can just binge watch through all of my YouTube videos. Because like I said, if you are someone who is constantly blaming men for your infections, or it's always men are like this and men always do that and men ain't shit and men cause my recurring vaginal infections, you are literally giving all your power away to a man and you're putting the blame on him and saying like he has power and control over you and your vaginal terrain. Well, at the end of the day, this is your body. You have control over your vaginal terrain and you are able to heal yourself naturally regardless of who you're sleeping with. Obviously, if you know a man has something and you're sleeping with him, then that's clearly still your fault. But otherwise, it typically is not just a man's fault, or if his fault at all, honestly. It's the fact that your ecosystem cannot bounce back from being exposed to different bacteria. So if that's the case, work on your immune system, your vaginal ecosystem, and also work on healing your relationship with men, and you will see healing in your vaginal health. So stay tuned for the next video. Bye, everyone.